Hello students, good morning. Today we are going to continue our chapter 20. Hey students, the other day we were talking about the disasters, natural and man-made disasters, calamities. And so in that we studied about cyclone, floods. Today we are going to study about the earthquake. Now, what do you understand by the earthquake? And what should be done when the earthquake takes place? So students, please be with me, open your textbook. An earthquake in general means the shaking of the surface of the earth. Due to tectonic activities in the interior of the earth, an earthquake is felt. Its major areas are the regions with weaker relief on the surface of the earth. Probable earthquake regions can be identified, but an earthquake cannot be forecast. Thus, much damage is caused in the absence of the forecast. So students, what is it? We are talking, what do you understand by the earthquake in general? In general, it means the shaking of the surface of the earth. And why does it shake? Due to the tectonic plates. See students, you have studied about the tectonic plates. So, activities take in the interior of the earth. An earthquake is felt. What its major areas are the regions with weaker relief, where the weaker surface of the earth, on the surface of the earth, some reliefs are weak, they are not strong enough. Probable earthquake regions can be identified, but the earthquake cannot be forecast, it cannot be predicted beforehand. Thus, much damage is caused in the absence of a forecast. Say students, when the weather forecast tells you about certain things, we are prepared, we know what is going to happen. But in the case of earthquake, it cannot be. Now, what to do when the earthquake takes place? During an earthquake, stay beneath a large bench or a table. So, when the earthquake takes place, stay beneath a large bench or a table. Okay? Then if you are in the school, sit beneath a bench. So, just go and sit under the bench. If you are in an open space, stay away from buildings, balcony, electric power lines and electric poles. If you have come out of the house and if you are in the open space, then what you have to stay away from what? From the buildings, balconies, electric power, that is the power line, the pole, electric poles and so on, so that it doesn't fall on you and you are not underneath. If you are driving a vehicle, then bring your vehicle to a halt over or below a bridge. Keep away from electric poles, power lines and traffic signals. So students, what? If you are on the road and if you are driving, then what you have to do? You have to halt over or below a bridge. So students, stop your vehicle. Keep it away from the electric poles, power lines and the traffic signals. Remain seated in your vehicle till the earthquake tremors are not over. So remain sitting in the vehicle till the earthquake tremors, till you stop feeling that the moments of the earthquake, do not move. Okay? Then even after the earthquake tremors are over, few things like fridge, photographs on the walls, ceiling fans, etc. may fall down afterwards. So keep away from them. So what happens? Even though earthquake tremors are over, keep yourself far from the photographs which are hanging on the wall, or like a fridge or ceiling fans. It may fall anytime because of the previous tremors which already the building had felt. For instructions or guidance about the event, listen to the local news. We had seen the previous time when we were talking about flood and all. Do not believe in rumors. New buildings under construction should be made earthquake proof. So new buildings under construction should be made earthquake proof. There are ways to make the buildings earthquake proof. Now what not to do? We saw till now what is to be done, that not to stay under the electric poles or electric wires or the buildings. But when you are somewhere in the classroom or something, sit under the bench or under the large table. Also keep yourself away from the fridge, photographs, wall, ceiling, etc. Listen to the radio news, and if possible, new buildings can be made under the construction of the earthquake proof. Now, what not to do? Do not shout or flee in panic. Don't get scared and just run away in fear, in panic. Do not attempt to prevent the things falling down after the earthquake tremors. Don't go, no, that frame is very precious to me, so I am going to stop it falling down. No, students, it may harm you. Do not use elevators to go down. Do not use the lift that you have in the house. If you are in a house, do not stand near wooden cabinets, that is cupboards, safes, mirrors, or glass chandeliers. You have those chandeliers, you know, those big lights and all, which you keep it as a decorative lights, you keep it in the house. So do not stand underneath, okay? Do not light a matchstick or a lighter, or do not switch on electric gadgets before confirming that the cooking gas is not leaking, because leaking gas may explode. So you may be saved from the earthquake, but if you have not taken care of this thing, that is a gas, which is a very, very important thing, students. You also, whenever you go to light the gas cylinder and all, you should open the windows and so on. And so students, confirm that there is no leakage. Otherwise, it may explode and another tragedy may take place. Do not put a phone call unless for emergency medical help on fire. A prompt phone call may interrupt telephone network, which may obstruct the relief work. So students, do not put a phone call immediately unless it is something very urgent and emergency need, maybe for the medical help or fire brigade or something like that. Okay, because what happens when the network is on, it may disturb and it may stop. Okay, then tsunami. Let's study about tsunami after finishing about the natural disaster, cyclone, flood, and earthquake. Now we are going to tsunami. Now what is tsunami? The destructive and powerful sea waves are called tsunami. Make a bracket. The destructive and powerful sea waves are called tsunami. These are generated at the sea bottom due to the earthquake having a rate of 7 or more Richter scale, or by a volcanic eruption in sea, or by a large scale landslide on the ocean floors. Now, so students, why first and foremost, this tsunamis, the waves are very, very destructive and powerful. When the tsunami takes place, for sure, many people die as the waves are very powerful. And these are generated due to what? They are generated this moment takes place in the bottom of the sea, due to the earthquake having the rating, the scale of 7 or more than that, or by the volcanic eruption, and by a large scale of landslide on the ocean floor. Now, tsunami means destructive waves. In one word, tsunami means destructing waves. In Japanese language, in Japanese language, it is called destructive waves. Now, tsunami occurs mostly due to earthquakes on ocean floors. So these are known as oceanic earthquake waves. Make a bracket. Tsunami occurs mostly due to the earthquakes on the ocean floors. So these are known as oceanic earthquake waves. These waves travel very fast in circular pattern. They travel in the circular pattern, students. Remember that? Tsunami waves are in the circular pattern from the place of their origin, wherever it takes place, the destructive waves very starts due to the, we saw that due to the earthquake or volcanic eruption and so on. So from the original place it starts and it's in the circular pattern. In deep sea, these waves are not seen distinctly due to their shorter wave heights, but when they approach coast and shallow sea, they turn into devastating form. So what happens? They turn into devastating form. Its velocity reduces near coast, but height increases. Velocity reduces, the speed reduces, but the height keep on increasing. They are very, very destructive, students. They come in the devastating form. So these waves surge ahead in the form of a wall near sea coast and cause devastation. So what happens? These waves surge ahead, they go before, and so they form in the form of a wall near the sea coast and cause devastation, bring a lot of destruction. Now, More than 2 lakh people from Thailand, India, Indonesia, Sri Lanka and other southeastern countries became victims of highly destructive tsunami on 26 December 2004. Students, in 2004, in India, very especially the people of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, also Chennai, this from the peninsula, that is of the South India, they were very much affected by these tsunami waves, and it had happened on 26th of December 2004. Many people had died during the Andaman Nicobar, where the islands are there also. Now, with modern equipments, a forecast and a nearly exact time of the striking of a tsunami can be predicted. So, with the modern equipments, there is in the earthquake you cannot predict it, but these tsunami waves, about this, due to the equipment, it can be. In future, more deaths can be prevented with due precautions. See, since we have this help, in future if it takes place, it can be taken care of. Now, what to do when the tsunami waves take place? When the tsunami waves take place? With tsunami warning, move to a safer place away from sea coast. Away from sea coast, you know, it begins with the sea and so on. Keep a radio handy and act according to the instructions received from the authorities. Listen to the news, okay, and follow the instruction given from the authorities, given by the authorities. Construction of new building and society should be carried out considering the tsunami impact. Now, construction of tsunami buildings, of new buildings and societies should be carried out considering tsunami impact, okay. Mangrove, that is the thick trees and all over there, reduces the overall impact of tsunami. So, attempts should be made to expand their span. In short, we keep on cutting the trees and all, but allow the mangroves and all, mangrove, as it helps to reduce the impact of the tsunami. What not to do? Do not take shelter on tall buildings. They can collapse, because these buildings may collapse due to destructive waves. We saw they are like huge, their height is very much, they come in the circular form, okay. After the tsunami recedes, do not approach sea coast till the instructions are received from the authorities. So once the tsunami is over, don't say it is all over, now we will go to see where it is started, or we will go to see the waves, how they are, or how many people have died. Do not, till you have got further instructions. So we are also finished now about the tsunami. Isn't it easy, students? It can be tsunami, earthquake. They can be asked for 2 marks. What is the meaning of it? What can we do and what is not to be done? Now, drought. A drought is a highly destructive hazard, leaving a long-lasting effect. It is connected with water and food, which are very much needed for the existence of living organism. So students, what is it? It is connected with water and food, which are very much needed for the existence of the living organism. When these needs are not fulfilled, when there is no water continuously for some months and maybe years, those regions do experience drought, okay. The problem of drought occurs in the regions of monsoon climate where the rainfall is irregular and is very scanty. When the rain is not proper, you do not get regular rain, monsoon in the rainy season. This is so because the agricultural crops, food grains and living organisms depend completely on water. Why is it? Because people are completely depending on what? On the agricultural crops, that is food grains and the water, obviously. So, the agriculture activities, if there is no water, can the seed grow? It will not grow. If the seeds do not grow, we will not get the food. So, it is understood, students, and so therefore, it is completely depending on water. The shortage is created due to water crisis. Under such conditions, heavy damage is done to agriculture and natural vegetation. Earlier, many people died of starvation during a drought, but now it could be reduced due to transportation and well-planned management. Earlier, people used to die because of there was no proper facilities of transportations and so on. But nowadays, it can be controlled, it can be managed in certain areas. Okay, government can help them. Now, what to do when you know that you do not get regular rain and all? So what type of things can be taken into consideration? Drip irrigation in agriculture should be intensified. Food rationing and use of water should be planned after estimating their availability. Food rationing is that you get a ration, and so also the use of the water should be planned after estimating their availability, how much is available and how it can be reached out to the people. Arrangements should be made for fair price distribution of food grains and relief work. During this time when the people are experiencing drought or not, do not you give them, but do not make the increase the price of the food grains and so on. Otherwise, they will not be able to. So what you have to do? Keep the fair price distribution and see that everybody gets it, have the relief work. Construction activities should be stopped except for the inevitable work, because the construction activity is going on, then it requires also the water, and if you do not have enough water, how you will be watering and so on, and so it can also damage the building later on. What is not to do? To prevent the food wastage, do not hold large-scale dinner parties. Citizens should not hold food grains or fodder. So students, what? Do not give big parties, dinner parties, do not waste the food. Okay? Also, do not think that I am going to accumulate the grains for me, also the fodder. Give it to the animals as much as required. Then, the next is forest fire. Forest fire also is a natural calamity. You do not know. Sometimes it can also be man-made, but let's see, here it comes in the natural calamities. A forest fire is a fire which occurs in forest and creates devastation. Except for lightning, all the other reasons for a forest fire like man-induced. Okay? So, except for the lightning, other reasons for a forest fire are man-induced. Man is responsible, just as I told you. Among them, throwing or burnt butts of cigarette after smoking, throw it over there. That is, another thing is bidis or matchstick, burning things left by tourists, something that you had kept to burnt and just left it like this and moved away from there. Pilgrims or shepherds, etc. Shepherds are not, in order to keep themselves warm in winter and all, they do light some leaves and all in order to get the warmth, and they leave it there as it is. These reasons, these things can cause the forest fire. There are more possibilities of a forest fire occurring during the dry season after autumn. See, a dry season after autumn, in the autumn what happens? Shedding of the leaves, so many leaves have been shedded, have been fallen. Now, at that time, the dry grass and fallen tree leaves act as fuel. This situation is responsible for the spread of forest fire. So, what happened? It is left there, the leaves which have been shedded by the tree are accumulated, are kept over there, and they act as a fuel for the fire, and so that is becoming responsible. When both wind and inflammable fuel are dry, they form the basis of forest fire, which spreads faster during windy days of more temperature and less humidity. So students, when there is a lot of wind and all, a lot of breeze, what happens? An inflammable fuel, when it is not, the flame is not extinguished, that can also spread over faster and faster during windy season, windy days, when the more temperature and the less humidity is there. Some trees ooze out oily and inflammable material, so the fire spreads faster. Some trees have that substance in themselves, and so what happens? Because of that oily substance or the inflammable material, they get burnt very fast and the fire spreads out faster. Then, once the forest fire starts, it spreads in the direction of wind, advancing at a velocity of about 15 km per hour on all sides. So students, once it starts, then the velocity, the speed increases, and about 15 km per hour it goes on all sides. So you can imagine the destruction. Once it starts, and if it attempts are not made promptly to extinguish, to put off, the forest fire would stop only under two situations. If you do not take the proper steps at that moment, you will not be able to, but only two steps, and that is, one is the forest fire is extinguished completely by itself. When everything is burned by itself, it will stop, or due to heavy rain. Only God can work the wonders. In the dry season and all, in the summer and all, if you say about rain, it will be a miracle. And so only heavy rain can stop. And also second thing is when it is completely over. Now, due to forest fire, smoke and spark rising high with the warm air current create a risk of fire among the nearby settlements. Now, what happens due to forest fire, smoke and spark rising high, the warm air, the warm air, surely air current, and create the risk of fire among the nearby settlements, the people who are living close by. Now, what is to be done when the fire takes place in the forest? Act according to the instructions from the forest department. Inform the forest department and act accordingly. Arrange special patrolling in forest during dry seasons. During dry seasons, arrange some special patrolling where it can be helped. Employees of forest department should be trained for extinguishing fire or forest fire. Those who are working in the forest department should be trained when such fire takes place, how to be taken care of. Now, what is not to be done? While traveling through a forest, do not throw a burning bidi or other things. Do not throw burning bidi or other things. We saw a bird of cigarette and all can extinguish the fire, can bring the fire, and it can expand. Okay, people living in settlements near the forest fire area should not ignore the instructions from the forest department. When the people are told to move, they should not ignore it. They should take it, the instruction, they should take it seriously, move away from there, otherwise they also will lose their lives. Students, while traveling through the forest, do not throw a burning bidi or other things. Do not light a matchstick and just throw it over there. Do not leave the fire just when you are, like the shepherds and all we saw, for the warmth they have been placing it. So do not leave it over there. Take care of it. So students, I am going to stop the chapter over here. We'll see about the man-induced disaster, man-made disasters in the next chapter. Today we have finished about the natural disasters. Tomorrow we shall have about the man-induced disasters. Have a good day, students.